Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. In today's video we're going to take a close look at the latest, newest Chinese arcade cabinets. This is the arcade slim model I've reviewed before, but this is a different configuration with a 42-inch display at the inside. But now we have the Pandora Box 10 in combination with the retro shooter. I knew this day was coming, that new arcade machines were implemented with the Pandora Box 10 and the retro shooter light gun configuration. And I think the customer case where I'm recording this video is actually one of the first one who has this as a combination. But not like the normal combination with the old technology. They also implemented the latest edition when it comes to the firmware and the 4, let's say, sensor configuration, having the best accuracy at the moment you're having with the retro shooter. So this particular model is completely different than the previous one we have checked out of his collection. The reason I wanted to review this because I love these, let's say, light gun arcade cabinets and just want to keep up to date when it comes to the latest machines from China. Completely new artwork, making this thing stand out in your collection, or you can just place it, let's say, in your office. Where he also has the retro shooter with just a purely arcade PC big box machine. This is just something that is very convenient to play. In combination also with the controls on the panel, we can just play old school MAME games, like a Dreamcast, PlayStation 1. So this is more like a 2-in-1 system. You can play light guns, but you can also use this machine as just your typical Pandora's box. And with all the new software updates, this thing has so much new, let's say, pieces of software implemented and makes it everything so more of a complete feeling with having two different ways to play. It's a very simple 6-button layout, but the buttons here implemented in machines are so much better than the first generation. You do need to get used to this because they're using the long travel buttons and more of the wiggle joystick, I love to call them, with a very long travel. Personally, I love to have like the short travel ones, but it's like a personal thing. Both players will have a start button, but only player 1 will have this extra button for getting into the menu. You can configure that or just putting in a credit by pressing the button itself. But the overall quality of the buttons, I must say that I'm very pleased with it. With the new generation of arcade machines, it's going to be so much better. So now we're having favorite game on and off. We have an option for a quick load and quick save. Console configuration, gamepad configuration, and we even can set the game scale to 4:3. And you know, those things that we have been complaining so many times. We can finally fix these things. The new machines with custom arcades come with the Pandora Box 10, and this is absolutely great because now we have light gun support, and of course we're having the option to play some old school arcade games. So in combination with this massive display inside the machine, there they are using a quite nice EPS panel. You do have the combination with a very cool, let's say, overall experience, because this is a hybrid machine. We can play fighting games or just, let's say, shmups, but we can also use the light guns. And I think when it comes to the light guns, there we have like so much, let's say, possibilities, and the overall experience is so much different than having a smaller display inside a machine like this. Let's do a quick overview of the menu itself. So it's similar to the Pandora's box that we've seen before, like the Pandora's box DX, but what they have improved that they having, for example, over here the icon, so you know actually what kind of game it is and what kind of platform. Pressing start will give you all kinds of new options, like recently played. You can search for a game if you want to, and what I've noticed that this works quite well. You can just see that it automatically generates a list, and the convenient thing about this is when you're going to be doing this, there is no load times whatsoever. So let's say I'm going to be searching for Sonic like I was doing. So in here we're finding all of the Sonic games. That also showcases what kind of platform and what kind of game. So of course they're not like Sonic the Hedgehog games, but you have all kinds of different ones, even some homebrew versions. Pressing start will give you back to the search, pressing it again will go you back to the main menu, and here we're finding the alphabetic order situation, 3D games, 3 and 4 play games, but also the light gun games. We're going to be taking a close look later on. Over here having the fighting, action, shooting, sport, puzzle. FBA is basically the emulator, MAME, so we have all kinds of different configurations. It also shows different kind of games. Dreamcast has only one. Seems to be with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but there are all kinds of different games that I wanted to check out. The Pandora Box 10 is a very nice Pandora's box with enough power to play thousands of different games.
Okay, so let's move on into the Demolish Fist or something it's called. I can tell you, it's absolutely a great game, man. Absolutely great. But if you're going to get into the gameplay itself, holding the pause button will give you the special menu, and they improved it so much.
Whee! Okay, so let's move on to some Sega Dreamcast. And when it comes to Sega Dreamcast, we have absolutely overall great performance on the Pandora's Box 10. And it's finally one of the things I can really enjoy now. You need to take consideration every single time you're going to be looking into a new emulator. You need to configure it when it comes to the aspect ratio, because it doesn't like automatically set every single emulator to a certain resolution. So is it good and positive? Depends how you look at it. But the overall performance of this is absolutely great. I can just enjoy it, man. And of course the minor hiccups. But when getting into the game itself, the emulation performance is great, man. We still do have the wiggle feed, so meaning that we're still running on an old PPSPP emulator. Alright, so next up I wanted to check out some Street of Rage from the Mega Drive, because in the previous Pandora's boxes we only had the arcade version that sounded horrible. So let's check out if the audio is like it should be. The overall performance of this is not bad at all, and I think it's absolutely enjoyable. Also here we have implemented the filter. So one of the newer systems we can find is the Atari, and I can tell you that I found it very strange to play these games on an arcade machine. Having this weird Pac-Man version. I didn't grow up with the Atari time, but for the people who just want to play some Atari games, it is possible. You don't have a handful of capable on the Pandora's box, but you can, I think, always add new games yourself if you want to. Okay, so moving on to some PlayStation 1 emulation, and we've reached the point that it runs perfectly. It's still on native resolution and on such a huge display that is using this arcade machine. It's not like the best overall experience. I would personally like slap a mini PC in this and upscale it, because then it's going to be having this full potential. But the emulation performance is great. And I'm having the mouse skip again. But this was a hybrid device, and we have like arcade games, but also have light gun games. He has made the decision to go for the retro shooter Pandora's box, but this is just a plug and play situation. Of course you can buy these things separately with the retro shooter game box, but this has been implemented with the Pandora's box 10, and I think it's absolutely great addition with an amazing feedback system. He also implemented the new version of the retro shooter, because the first one had only two sensors at the left and top, I think it was on the left and the right top corner. But with this new machine we're having all four of them, similar to the Gun 4R situation. It's different technology, but it makes it so much more accurate. So one of the really convenient things is when having a retro shooter on an arcade machine like this, you can just navigate fairly easy throughout the menu itself. So you don't need the controls on the arcade machine. You can just go into the menu, choose a game and boot it up. So with this new arcade shooter slim edition from Custom Arcades, the retro shooter is absolutely a very cool addition. What I particularly like about this thing, the navigation works so easy. You can mess around with the menu just clicking a button, and actually when it comes to the force feedback in this thing, it's just good enough, and I can really enjoy it. If it comes to, let's say, a real shooter game or no real shooter game, it's absolutely a lot of fun. But okay, there are only like this particular version. There is no black edition or two blues or two reds. You just have two different colors when it comes to this. Oh yeah! Where the Pandora's box 10 is absolutely a great device, I've noticed that when it comes to, let's say, light guns, we do have some limitations. Particularly when it comes to, let's say, MAME, and also when it comes to, let's say, other things. We do have like no Techno Pirate, but besides that, all of the craziness, we do have a lot of cool classic games that we can play. But what kind of games can we actually play? Because we don't have Techno Parrot and this runs on something completely different. But still you do have all kinds of cool things like the Action Max Blue Thunder. So you have Crime Patrol, the Super NES games, and then even having some Sega Dreamcast, MAME and PlayStation. So even this thing does have limitation due of the power and the software that's running on. There are so many classic stuff that you can play with the retro shooter. And I think that's absolutely awesome. And maybe in the future we can even see an update for new games. The arcade machine itself comes already with a new version of Pandora Box 10, meaning that we do have the option to swap out, let's say, the game scale and setting it to 6:9 and of course the 4:3. Absolutely great, but also you can turn on and off the crosshair if you just want to have like a different way to play. So a lot of, let's say, options in the game that you're only holding the play one button, getting into the menu and can just switch it on and off if you want to, and the same goes for the game screen scale. But this is one of the things I really love the Pandora Box 10. It's so easy to use and you don't need to be having any knowledge about, let's say, configurations or tinkering. But let's get into some gameplay with the retro shooter.
There we go. Let's see what button it is. Okay, there we go. Where's the orange guy?
Reload.
So what's kind of cool is like with some of these, let's say, guns, we needing the machine gun function like this. We can shut it down by doing different configuration on the light gun itself. But with the right game, like the Aliens game, it's absolutely a must-have. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A new addition to, let's say, the Pandora Box 10 is the laser disc, and those games are quite difficult to play.
Oh boy, these games are so freaking cringe. Here we go. Let's see. Woo! I got one.
Free, sucker!
Hey, you up! Go shoot me!
But if you want to use this machine on the authentic way of putting a coin in, that is actually possible with the Pandora's box itself. I think it's a very convenient way, simply because the Pandora's box itself already implements a piece of software that, let's say, have the option to play with coin mechanism and of course having some software. In the inside, we're finding the compartment that you can drop in the coins and get them out there. Inside the machine, we're finding Pandora's Box 10th edition, the Gemma version. It's highly possible if the new version comes out, you can just easily swap it out with a newer edition. We're having two power supplies for giving everything the juice that it's going to be needing, in combination of the power supply going to, let's say, the Pandora's box, but one to the amplifier for the audio, and even, of course, the light guns itself. Then we're having an audio upgrade with the subwoofer. Don't exactly know the specs of the woofer itself, and having two speakers for the mid and high and the marquee itself. Absolutely great combination. Audio is absolutely so much better. Nevertheless, when it comes to this newer generation arcade machine, it's absolutely cool to actually have like a very nice, let's say, very reliable light gun. Of course, our different configuration with Gun 4 IR, but this retro shooter is reliable and also has a very nice feedback and all the buttons you're going to be needing for playing the game, but also if you're going to be using this, let's say, in every kind of platform. Nevertheless, thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.